Hello my dear friends, welcome back to Deuces Night. And welcome to Tabletop Tuesday. Your host here, Sven, introducing to you Dungeons and Deuces. A game that might be a fake Dungeons and Dragons, but it is more than that. And it is more than a simple card game. Today I just want to talk about how to play in general, not just the basic rules that are necessary for the whole game. At first, players choose their classes that they want to play. You can choose one class at a time. So you have the basic ones like Warrior, Rogue, Mage, and Hunter. And you also have special ones like Dog Time, House Cat, Ensign Ricky, and Pony Princess Witch Doctor. There are a lot of them. They're like up to 18 of these classes, and you even have templates to create more. So you start off with level 1, and each character has an ability. In the warrior's case, he has Sword and Board, which helps him to draw an additional card for every spade he uses in attack and per round, and may use a threat card in defense if it is a heart. What these mean and how they are going to be used will be said in the next section. Then, as a player, you draw 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is your initial hand. What each and every card does will be explained later. But for now, this will be your hand card, and it's also your life points that you have. So every time you lose a card, or you can't redraw a card, you use a life. But at the same time, you want to get rid of cards, because this will be part of leveling up. But how that works, I explain later. Also, the player draws 1 additional card, which is a threat card. The threat card is basically a indicator on who's the strongest in the group. Like if you have multiplayer, you through that threat card, it is decided which player is being attacked first by the enemy. It also is an indicator for some of the abilities. So even in a single player match where it is one-on-one, which I will demonstrate today, that it is important to know that you have a threat card and what color it is, what number it has, so it can be applied to the abilities. The GM is now allowed to bring out monsters to start the encounter. How many monsters are coming? That is decided by the target difficulty, according to the players. For now, we just need to focus on one player, which is 5. So now, the GM is allowed to draw cards according to the difficulty number of either the number 3 under or 3 more. So for now, at least he has to reach that number. So we have the Goblin, which is 2. And now the Shaman, which is, come on, not the whole deck, 4. So we are at 6. Which is 1 more than the target difficulty. So now the player who has to face the encounter, he could say, okay, stop, I don't want any more. But could also say, hey, I want more, because that gives more loot in the end. Each of the monsters also have a ability, which is up here. And they have cards as their own hand based on their number next to their level. In the Goblin's case, it would be 2 cards, and in the Shaman's case, it would be 4 cards. Roll initiative, but who goes first? This is decided by either how many monsters are there and their the difficulty that they have according to the target difficulty. So if it's equal or lower, then the player starts. If it's higher, there needs to be a draw between the game master and the players. So each play a card from the top of their deck, and in case of a draw, which is the case right now, the player would win. In case of being higher, the player would win, or if the GM is higher, they would start the turn. So, as the player is allowed to start first, the warrior wants to attack any of his opponents. He can choose either. He wants to start with the shaman, because he thinks, oh, this one is strong. So we go with them first. He wants to also use his ability, Sword and Board, which he has at level 1. Wants to take the first initial thing that he has there. It says, draw an additional card for every spade you use in attack. So he wants to try using his queen against the shaman. So, because he does that, he can use that once per round and draw an additional card as if the initial encounter is resolved. So he has a 8, he has a 10, he has a queen, and he has a 6. If he would have an ability that allows him to defend himself, he could use that right now. But for now, he wants to just defend himself. In that case, he uses his queen, which we will just uncover, to block the other queen. In case of a draw, they both put their cards on the discard pile, and we draw the card that they initially used. As we all know, it will continue with the whole attacking and defense steps for each side, and either one is the loser and one is the winner. So we kinda skip to the end of an encounter, and I show you how it is done. So at the end of turn, the players and the monsters discard their cards into the discard pile. But as a player, you should watch out, because if you have any 2s left in your hand, which is not this case right now, you might be lucky to get some loot. For 2, you get common loot, which allows you to have a card to become a card +1. So you could either play it as for example, a 5, but you can also play it as a 6. If you have 3 2s, you are allowed to get rare loot, which allows you to have a card being played as a double. For example, I have the 5 again. I could also play it as a double 5 if I use it. And the last one is the epic loot, which you get for 4 2s, which makes a wild card which you can use for any combinations that you just need. Maybe to fill out your poker hand, or to go into the triple, quadruple, whatever you need for your satisfaction. Now you also get to the point, as if you decided on the loot and got some loot, you discard your cards and be like, oh no, I lost cards. But don't worry, you should be happy that you lose cards, because if you lose cards, you are able to get a level up if the whole deck somehow lands into your discard pile. So at the end of an encounter, your threat card also lands there, and every time you either have to discard a card because of a battle, or because of the whole encounter, you lose cards into the discard pile. And in the case of that, the whole deck is being sent to the discard pile. You are then allowed to reshuffle it either between matches, or if it happens at the end of the match, then at the end of the match. And that counts as a level up. So from now on, you're a level 2. Hey! Or level 3 or 4 or 5, either where you stand. And then you are allowed to use more abilities. This effect happens also for all the other players. When you or either of your party members reaches the end of their deck. Also, the monsters are being leveled up and get more cards, and at some point become elite enemies, which have a bit more devastating effects when they use cards. If you want to learn more about the game, go to dungeonsandDeuces.com and watch all the content that is in there. On that page, you will be able to find all the templates that you need. You will find possibilities on what kind of quests or other game modes you can try. You have all the templates that you can mess with the game, so we all are able to make our own adventures in our own set of monsters, set of classes with abilities. So basically, it is really homebrewable as it is. And with that, I want to say goodbye for now. I want to thank you for watching, and I see you next time.